All right, since we're delayed, just get started right away. Now call to order, excuse me, the October 2nd meeting of Charles and Greenways for Newtown Township. Our normal scribe secretary is out, so I'm going to do my best to do the notes. So you got it? Okay, all right. Can we do roll call then?
So, go ahead, Joe, are you here?
Present.
Okay,
Anthony, present.
Anthony's here, Beth is here, John Custer is here, and then
Absent, Mark Carr and Joe Kasuska. All right. Please ask for a moment of silence. Everybody, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Item number 4. First thing is for considering approving the agenda for today's meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda? Motion by Evan, seconded by Joe. All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. No opposed. Motion passes and the agenda is approved for today's meeting. All right, next item, public comments. There is no one here from the public, so we move on to item 6. For the minutes, consider approving the minutes from our September 4th meeting. Motion to approve by Evan, seconded by myself. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the previous meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, no opposed. Motion passes to approve the minutes from our September 4th meeting. Thank you. Nothing under land development review this time. I did, Mr. Neese, I don't know, I would like to bring up now, I think you were copied on the email back and forth with Mara. Did you see my question from a couple weeks ago to her? Okay, so.
I'm not saying I didn't see it,
That's
which
fine.
remind me which question, because there's lots of emails that I get about lots of different things.
Understood. So the previous, for this entire year, what we were trying to do was, remember we used to have the subcommittees for all these different things in the land development review. And then we realized at one point that that was not in spirit of the democratic process of this committee because not everybody was involved in the decision-making and the translation of what we were supposed to be reviewing these for. You and I asked for advice and we were talking about it. What we started doing, which has been very successful, is having Mark Carr, in most cases, as our secretary. We would go through and actually collaboratively agree in this meeting on what the specific language and things that were key to our tenets of this group in green space and walkability, connectability. He would read it back to us. We would all vote then on, is this approved? And we get it through. Morris sent me like a really dumbed down kind of form for that land development review, but I couldn't really fit what we did in that format without missing things. So I just replied back. I said, this doesn't make any sense. Like, we've had a really good system. This is also part of official record that was voted by us. And I didn't feel comfortable retranslating because then pieces of what everybody collaboratively created could be lost. And so I think you were copied on the.
Yeah, I was copied. I recall seeing that. Yeah. So, I mean, the format was put together for you to use as your basis for submitting to the planning commission and that was the reason for the format, so that they would have something that they could review and see the information on. If you add something to that, that's fine, but that was the purpose of the format.
Okay. So if we're going to do some sort of official form, can we at least make it digitally usable? Because I'm just being very honest. There's no way I'm going to use a hand scanned form or create a form every single time.
Well, was it digitally formed originally?
The one that I got was like I would have had to essentially make it myself in PDF and write over top of it is the one that I had originally got.
We'll look at that.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir, I appreciate that. But yeah, what I want to do is, the other thing is, I mean, being quite honest, not make more work for the group that is not necessary and repeat work that we've done in here. So if in the future, we can answer those questions that are on the form in this meeting,
Mhm.
that would be ideal. Because then again, I don't accidentally translate something incorrectly that was not voted upon by everybody.
I mean,
As
you
part of
can, look, if you want to just submit till we get that redone, a statement that's what you guys acted on, I think that's fine. But the idea of the form was to have, one, have you have a standard format that you're using to review, and two, a chance for whoever gets it to have a relatively standard format that they're looking at.
Understood. All right, well then what I'll do is I'll take what she sent me and make my best attempt at seeing if there's any constructive edits that could be made or make it more usable. And then the goal would be in the future, we'll use the same standard format in this meeting. And we could essentially be filling out the form as we're doing it and making sure that there's not something that was missing. Does that sound appropriate?
Yeah, that's great.
Does everybody understand what I'm getting at and also agree? I'd like to hear, just to make sure that I'm not missing something. Is that John?
Good chance, okay.
Beth, yeah?
Yeah.
Joe?
Yep.
All right, thank you. I appreciate the time. I know that wasn't on the agenda, but I didn't want to miss an opportunity. All right. Number 8, new business, moving on. First one on there was 8.1 for the e-bike subcommittee stuff. So there was something sent out by the township. There was actually a recent post from the township because of was that state? There was a state thing that came from the state from PennDOT originally, right? Yeah, there was something that went out all over the news regarding e-bike electric scooters because of the recent tragedies that have occurred. And they're looking to push stuff. So Joe and I had this conversation about, this is something that Joe and Mark and myself, but you primarily had done a lot of research on. We had the questionnaire.
Yep.
And so one, we just wanted to figure out, are we still, which we still think is important, getting that question out through SurveyMonkey? What is the time scale or the timeline on that getting out? And then also just kind of reviewing this as in our committee to make sure that we're not missing anything important that needs to be included. But yeah. So Joe, I don't know if you want to comment on, because you were really deep in the
Yeah, I wanted to.
Microphone? Joe, Mike.
I just want to make sure we were advanced on this because clearly I've traveled to a number of places that already have these types of restrictions in place, or at least rules. And then you're starting to see more of that today. But as you can imagine, there's disparity between township to township. Some people have something, some people don't. And then clearly we got the notification of children that got hurt on some type of e-vehicle, if that's a scooter or bike or whatever that may be. I think for our purposes, I think whatever trails we do have, we just got to watch, what type of bikes are being used. I know if you go to certain parks, you can't use e-bikes that are a level 2 e-bike or a level 3 e-bike because they destroy the trail.
Mhm.
Because they're acting more like a power vehicle based off the weight, everything else like that. So, and then, clearly you also want to make sure that we don't want to be hearing from pedestrians that are using trails that then someone blows by them going 20 miles an hour and they're like, wow, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then
So-
we're going to get a headache. That's it.
Yeah, so I think, just so you know, this piece that came from Chris was requested that we address this issue. It was primarily for discussing the e-bikes being used on public property and being used on public streets. And that in what was allowed and what wasn't. One of the things that there were a fair number of parents who did not understand that depending on the level of motor, some of them actually required that you be 16.
Yep.
So there were some requirements that was the purpose of getting that information out as to where they could be used, not so much to was not necessarily setting policy for the township. It was
Oh, yeah,
setting
we know.
it was giving information in light of, you're right, it was in light of the accident. It was in trying to make sure everybody understood. And we had been having problems where we had been addressing younger people on electric scooters that actually were considered at a level that should have been, they were too young to be on.
Well, it's correct. So like electric scooters up there, there's a definition of electric scooter is not well defined. I mean,
Yeah.
a Razor scooter should not be on a road because it's probably only gonna go 7 to 12 miles an hour.
Correct.
And then, but you do have electric scooters now.
Nan
I was just on a
robots.
college campus yesterday and people are flying by everywhere with electric scooters.
Yeah.
I get it. It's worthwhile. If you're at Penn State, I mean, to go from one side of the campus to the other, it makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
But, yeah, I think it's good for everybody. It's good for the township. It's good for the people that want to use bikes because they know what the rules are.
Yes.
Trouble for it. And then clearly it's for people that don't want it because then there's some form of restriction or at least they know what the guidelines are.
Yeah.
Well, it's opportune timing. So Joe had already prepared our social media
Yes.
language, and also then we had the survey thing. So I was just hoping that one, we might be able to get, because you had said this before, sir, is that we want to get as many people as possible responding to this survey. The time is now to get it out because it's fresh in everybody's mind because of the tragedy. You might get more public engagement if we strike now while the iron is hot and get it out there. So I'm just curious, what do we think the timeline is on the social media posts that Joe wrote and then also the survey month?
Well, I think we wanted to tie the two.
Yes.
And if you recall, I think it was 2 or 3 meetings ago, I mentioned that you would need to, that you as a committee, your committee would need to present it to the board. So that,
Yeah, but that was something that was not in our court to schedule it. We were waiting on when it was opportune. We didn't know.
okay, we'll go back, we'll get it scheduled for you. I think we turned it over.
It's like, I don't even know how to do that. How do we?
Just work with Desiree in my office to get a schedule to do that, but we'll get that done.
We need like an agenda item on.
No, I think that this is before 1 or 2 board members, and just so that they aware, they want to review it with you before it goes out. That's what the deal is. So 1 or 2 board members, I think, can
Okay.
do that.
What's her email address, sir?
We'll get it for you.
Or do I just send it to you and she's tracking your
No,
inbox?
No,
Okay.
but we'll get it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to let that go. Then if I have to do it, I'll do it. I just want to make sure I know who to contact. Okay, thank you. Does anyone else in the committee have any questions on what's going on there? But it looks like our action moving forward is to ask and request the Board of Supervisors that they put something on their agenda so that we can present to them.
No, I don't want it
I'm
on,
sorry.
I just want you to meet with 1 or 2
Oh, I'm
board
sorry, yes.
members
Sorry.
and do that.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on, the next item, 8.2. So we had, oh, I'm sorry, before we missed, you weren't here last meeting, sir. I'm trying to be nice. I was always trained.
I understand.
We were looking for an update, or we were looking for accident data related to bicycles, e-scooters, all that kind of stuff. And George was thinking that would be possible through the police department. How do we go about that?
I think George has met with the chief and they actually, I'm sorry, I think George has met with the chief and they actually don't track it at that granular level. So I don't know that you can get it that way without going through every accident report.
Happy to do it.
Huh?
Happy to do it.
Well, I don't know that they're willing to let you go through every accident report, so without doing redaction. So I just don't know that that can be done easily, so.
Do they keep track, what level do they keep track of? Like if there's a vehicle, if there's a crash, do they keep track of its pedestrian crash? Like, if it crash with
I
a
think-
pedestrian or crash with a vehicle or crash with an object or what?
Yeah, the challenge was when I talked to the chief of police about it, and I said, like, these are the kind of things that the committee's looking to see so that they could determine, you know, is there anything they can recommend or take as a result?
Right.
A pedestrian incident or a bicycle incident isn't one of the identifiers that go into it, so that there's not a way for them to pull up reports based on a pedestrian involvement or a bicycle involvement. It's just not one of the, it's not one of the boxes that you check so that they could pull it up again in that
In
fashion.
I'm
theory-
surprised that that's not the case because I'm a firefighter with the Newtown Square Fire Company. And when we get alerts for incidents, one of the categories we get is with pedestrian involvement. So I'm surprised that that's not the case.
Yeah, that was what the police department reported to me when I brought that from the committee to them.
So, yeah, one of the things that's relatively new is I'm assuming that if there was a pedestrian or a bicyclist or a scooter, whatever, they would at least write it in the report. Nowadays, they can use a scanning tool, OCR and scanning tool to literally find it. So if it's not possible, if it's not something they're currently tracking, it is something that could be easily tracked in the future to provide the police department with better understanding of how big of a problem it really is in our township.
So I think the challenge is this is not a report that's printed out and scanned. It's a report that's loaded into the software, and you're dealing with the limitations of the particular software of how it's loaded, is my understanding. I haven't used the software. I'm not
Okay.
privileged to use that software, which
There's
is
Probably a lot of
understandable.
sensitive information. I would
Yeah,
imagine.
exactly. And so that's part of the challenge. And that's one of the reasons why I can't say that somebody could go and just look at every accident report, because there's things in an accident report that may or may not be allowed to be just shared. You know, every accident report before it gets released has to be reviewed and then potentially redacted before it gets released. So, I would need to do more research to be able to tell you that that's just something they can do. My understanding is it's not that simple with the particular software that we have.
That's fine. And yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking then even into the future is maybe it is something that with a slight tweak that can.
Yeah.
In the future, which would then, you know, even if it doesn't bear fruit for a little bit of time, it's better with how emerging these issues are, better than not. So,
Well, and again, we presented the fact that this was why the committee was looking for the information. It was a
Yeah.
legitimate request for it, and they're aware of the fact
Yeah.
that, you know, this is why you'd be looking for it.
No, I mean, I mean, I give Joe a lot of credit because it showed a lot of foresight. You know, not every one of us knew that there was going to be such public displays of the downside of these things right away. And, you know, we had been on this for a little bit beforehand, so it's, we obviously try to get ahead of it, but it is, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean, when you're gonna spend the money that you spend on an e-bike, better know if you're getting level 1, 2, or 3, and
Yeah.
you can use it or not, where you actually live.
Yeah.
So that's actually what triggered it.
Yep.
Joe's actually trying to get the township to build a dedicated racetrack for these things. That's what's going on. All right. All right. Sorry. Thank you about that. Sorry, I had to retract for a second and go backwards, but next one, trail signage 8.2. The last meeting we had discussed that we needed an official proposal from the artist because what we had did not constitute that, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
so, you had, I'm sorry. You did end up talking with the designer, he gave you a proposal, you told him to move forward. We
Yes.
got a draft of general, like, trail map that still needs some tweaks, today, we got that, so I still in the process, I don't know if it's at a point where we'd wanna review it, as a group.
it's not
because-
that far enough along, you're thinking?
Like, there's the back of the Meadow Preserve, there's a trail that's mowed by
Yep.
neighbors, and so that needs to be removed from.
Because that's not part of the official
Right,
trail.
and so
Yep,
like,
good
that's
call.
the big thing right now, and then we could figure out if it's looking okay from there.
Okay, so by your estimations, and we just got the draft approved today, You make some edits.
George already
George
emailed
makes
back.
sense, great.
Sorry, I'm speaking for you. If you want to jump in, go for it.
No, again, it came across today. We had seen a very, very rudimentary version back last week or maybe 10 days ago. Had some comments on it. I think those comments were reflected in the initial draft that we saw today. Again, it's not fine tuned. It's not, made perfect or anything, but it's concept. And, again, I know I made some comments on it and I think the others were doing the same thing. So it's in process and the agreement with the artist was moved forward. So we're moving forward with it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Do you have any other questions from the other committee members regarding this agenda item right now or comments? Okay.
Actually, I do have one. I actually think we should, in addition to the signs that we're working on, maybe this is separate from the consultant, but should we put an identifying sign somewhere like on the drive that leads to the parking lot? In the past, I'd always gone there up the Listener Trail, and I drove there for the first time, and as you know, it's not marked whatsoever. In fact, the only marking there is a sign from Episcopal that says private property and the trespassing, which is very misleading. I actually was like, am I in the right place? And
Yeah, you're in the
I
right.
thought I knew where I was going. I went.
That's how I know I went the right way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Evan wasn't part of the group when you covered this years ago, because this is one of the first things we ever talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we would have to look at where we could do signage in the right of way, because it would have to be in the right of way. The challenge is if I put signage in the right of way, it may also be in the site triangle. So we'll have to work through that. George and I'll talk about what some options are.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Next one. Discussion and possible action on public communication business cards. I think, Evan, you had done a draft. I believe I attached it, so let's see if this works.
Yeah, it didn't come through very well.
No?
The file I'd sent you had like, like a fake QR code, and it was the design was a little more advanced. I don't know what, maybe something happened when it
Yeah, you're right. Because I saw that.
it looked, I don't know, maybe when it got put into whatever format this is, it got messed up somehow.
Yeah, you're right, though, because this is not like, there's something missing here from the one that you sent me.
And the one There we go. Yeah, I just had it in like in a Microsoft Word format. Maybe when it got printed to PDF, it messed up the formatting. Yeah, like it looked like just like this.
Yeah.
Not just the blank, yeah, there you go. That shows the blank image.
Yeah, that's what I got,
There's-
so. That's what I
there's more
forwarded
stuff going
on,
on.
that's what I forwarded on tomorrow. I don't
Yeah.
know if when that happened, something got screwed up,
Yeah,
but okay.
but anyways, most of the information's, I mean, you can talk about it anyway.
No, but I like the way it looked on yours. So the
Okay.
bottom line is that one side of the card was basically they scan that, they go to the page on the website. We had that QR code already present. It was on the banner originally that Terry had, right? So it's like, we already kind of have this. The front of the card is one side, the back has that. And, kind of like, almost like a mini handout that when we do the, what's the thing at the square? Now, what am I thinking? Sundown at the Circle and the farmer's market, when we've got the
The
table
farmer's
out, when we
market,
do
yeah,
the
yeah.
trail walks and stuff, you just have something that actually gets them to the site. Because in the past, it was very successful, George, when we had the booth
Mhm.
with the banner, but we don't always have that opportunity at trail walks and things where we're more mobile. So this was like kind of an easy thing, very inexpensive to be able to, all of us have it. And the other great thing is that you don't even need to technically give it to them if you're down to your last one, because you can say, hey, just take a picture with your phone, because it'll automatically bring you to the website. So, but no, yeah, basically, if you could scroll, to the very top, please. So basically, if the front of the card looked like that and the back of the card looked like what's on Evan's screen.
Yeah, and one of the questions I had for the group was, would we want to put the time and day? Or are we confident that's gonna be our time slot for the next like couple years, or would it be kind of a waste to have that on there?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I like the idea of trying to get the public to show up to the meetings by doing that.
That's the whole point of this for me.
Yeah, so, I mean,
You just check the township's website for.
Yeah.
current dates.
And
yeah, but
that's
this is
what-
just easier is the thing.
Yeah.
If it changes, then it's more evergreen.
Bless you.
Or if we cancel, or if there's like a weird holiday or something, it just.
Yeah, if we have if we cancel or something, because that's happened.
And then
Okay.
George brought up a great point, is the QR code, where does it take them to? Does it take them to the Trails and Greenways page on the township? Does it take them to like the meetings and agendas? You know, when you know, resident lands on this page, what are they seeing? And we just gotta take a look at that before we.
The
go ahead.
previous one used to take them to the Trails and Greenways portion of the township website, and then on the right, there was, if you wanted to see previous meetings and agendas for upcoming meeting schedule, was to the right side, I believe, on the bottom right there.
I know
So
there's a
like,
link
that's at
up-
least how the previous QR code was set up.
Okay, yeah, that sounds okay.
And the key is that whatever, you know, the Trails and Greenways webpage, what do you want on it?
Yes.
And whatever you want on it, I think, you know, as long as it's, you know, township related,
Sure.
it should be able to go on, links to the Greenways plan and,
And there is a link to the Greenways plan now, which is
Yeah.
perfect. And then,
right. And your meeting times are on that, so,
Yeah.
you know, even if for some reason the meeting time might change at some point in the future, if you're going to the page, you're gonna see whatever the freshest, you know, meeting info is.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, I haven't had any issues. I have pushed some residents in the past towards the website and haven't had any weird comments or things of like, can't find this, can't find that. It's actually pretty good. But I think as we continue to develop the maps, the perfect plan would be in the future, as soon as you go to it, is the trail map. Right there. What is current trails and what is planned trails for the township?
well, I think the Trails and Greenways Committee page is great because it has information about meeting times, links to agendas and meetings, like George said. I think the only thing I would change is, to address your point, is maybe make the Trails and Greenways plan link maybe more prominent, or maybe, I don't know if you want to, I don't know if you want to put an image on that page. You
You don't have to, I mean, but
could put a
again,
map, you could put an image of you could link an image of the trail map to that page and then have a link to the full Trails and Greenways.
I mean, that
plan.
might be step two.
Yeah,
Step one might be getting something like this and just driving more traffic to the page.
right. Yeah, the page can be changed. The QR code doesn't change.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
Once that's in there, it's getting you to the right thing, then you could always add things, change that, make something more highlighted, but yeah.
Is the webpage being built in-house or is it outside?
It's in-house, so if there's something, if we want to put a picture on it, if we want to, you know, add a column and have information on it, we can do that in-house.
Well, good, that even makes that ease of changing, so, okay. So I guess the real question is, one of the things that we have to do typically in October is do a formal request for budget. And this would be one of them. I don't know how expensive business cards are,
You can get 100 business cards from,
Incos. or
there's
FedEx,
one of the online ones. I forget what,
Vistaprint.
that's it. Vistaprint for like, you know, like 10.99 or something. So it's really a drop in the bucket.
Good, all right.
I mean,
So-
I don't think we need a ton of them, just, you know, just what there's.
I mean, the
Some of
biggest
us.
challenge, you've got multiple colors. It'll be a little bit more expensive to do front and back that way, but you're not talking about.
All right, well then, easy. All right, so bottom line is, does anybody see any glaring issues with not what's necessarily always on the screen,
Yeah.
but also what's on Evan's screen of the QR code in the back with that image out in the front? And do we want to change the one thing about the exact time of the meeting to just say monthly meetings at the township building, go to the website of the QR code to get the exact schedule. And to stay up to date or something.
Think that-
I know.
Yes.
If you haven't known me long enough, I always use 10 words when 3 are appropriate.
I think saying something like, again, the QR code for meeting times, more information about the committee and maps of existing trails and kind of list it all into one thing and be like, go to this place, you'll find all that.
I'll drop a new draft, send it out.
Thank you. All right, is there anything more on 8.3? All right, moving on. Kind of in the same category of physical media, but also digital and trifold map for the township. We were looking at trying to update the trail map. The only thing that we've been using is the very grainy one that was created from Gilmore and Associates from the Open Space Network plan from 2020. Kind of the only thing we've really had. So I didn't know, because it is tied into the new comprehensive plan work that, forgive me, I forget the name of the firm. Simone Collins, thank you. They had mentioned they're like reviewing and looking through all this stuff. I didn't know if they were going to be creating, I'm assuming, a similar report that was done for the previous comprehensive plan that preceded the Open Space Network. And would they be doing things like that, graphics, and I didn't know. I didn't want to double do work is another.
I would anticipate they'll be doing some graphics. I don't know specifically what graphics they're going to be doing at this point. We haven't really gotten that far along. Yeah, so I don't know that I have a great answer for you on that. And I mean, I think it's reasonable to assume most of the stuff you see in the current comprehensive plan, similar types of things will be done.
So the reason I ask is there have been updates in the previous one where there have been sidewalks put in different areas, the parking lot at the Meadows Preserve, whatever. There are things that have changed from the previous map that they would likely see and want to have updated in the new stuff, which is great. And then not trying to do extra work if possible. They are a very professional firm with a pretty good graphics department. So I was hoping that maybe we could piggyback off of their effort and if they were creating an image, that can be something that we could utilize in creating a trifold map or something, again, that you put on our webpage as well. That was my thought.
That's fine. Yeah, George and I were planning on doing that. We just didn't have time to get together.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question because I sat in the presentation with you, obviously, and it just popped into my head. It's like, well, hey, maybe like,
Yeah, they can do it for us.
well, it's, again, not do double work. They're doing it. Let's see if that's an opportunity.
Like the Trails and Greenways plan has lovely maps in it, but they're all embedded in there and you can't pull them out with any resolution. So like
Yeah.
if they did create a trail map type of thing, if we could just get like a PDF of it, something that we could then pull out and have a higher resolution, like they could still embed it into the thing, but like if there was a link that you could click to take to something else, that would be super useful. For our purposes.
What's also been one of the most requested things we've had when we have had public engagement to different things is everybody asks, like, is there a trail map of the township, like where all the trails are and this and that? And that's the only one we've had. So we've shown them where it is in the open space network plan. It's like, okay, you scan this QR code, you go here, you go into this report, then you really want to go to page whatever, because there are a lot of maps and it's confusing if you haven't memorized it like I have of where exactly it is. And then the image isn't great. It's very grainy, as Beth said. You can't pull it out, use it for other things. So a lot of other townships, it's very common to just have like a township map of all the trails. And then if there are some that are on the larger side of a trail, they might have like a separate map dedicated to it. So I just was thinking this is like maybe step one. And if they're utilizing, or if they're going to do it, let's utilize what they're doing. I don't know how we would go about even asking or requesting that, sir. Just say, hey, in your work, is this possible?
Yeah,
Sorry, Steve, not sir.
I think that think the key would be, is it part of what they're gonna provide us, or is it additional expense to do it? And that's what I need to find out.
Totally understand.
So Anthony, just to be
Sorry,
clear,
Charlie.
if I have a background of the township CAD, the township map, I can recreate this Gilmore map in less than an hour. This is not, yeah, this is nothing. Really not a lot of work.
Okay.
That, I just need a background, and this grainy image is not that background. I have a background of the township map. I can recreate this and add to it. Really not a lot of work.
Okay, so that background potentially, if they're doing it, we could get it.
I'm sure Gilmore got it from the town. Yeah. Sure George has it.
Okay, all right, well, then that's some possible action. If we can get that, that Evan can do it because his CAD skills are way better than mine. All right, anybody other comments, questions on this agenda item 8.4? No, okay, moving on, thank you. Did I copy? Oh, no, this is specifically for budget requests. I just listed those bullets. So, okay. Trail maps 1, business cards sounds super cheap. The new banner was a request we made. I don't know. I think that was handled in-house previously. How would that work? I know we talked about it, sir. I'm blanking. I apologize.
Yeah, the map was,
I'm pretty sure you're talking about the banner, right?
Yeah, the banner.
Yeah, I think we did the QR code to your page. We had the banner printed. It's almost like the business card,
Cheap.
well, I don't know. So I think it's a little bit more expensive than the business
I
card.
would assume so.
But I mean, it's relatively inexpensive.
Okay, all right, good. So bottom line is those are 3 items. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, in theory, we would need to do, even if it's as simple as what Steve was saying is,
I will tell you this, one of the things that I've been considering is, do we go to a township banner, that's the banner, but then do a table banner that's so that so for example, at some events, there's actually 2 different groups at the event. There's Trails and Greenways, for example, and EAC.
Mhm.
So the tent's usually not big enough to hold up 2 banners. But the tent, we have a bigger tent that can actually take 2 tables, and we could do 2 table banners. So one of the things that I'm looking at, and I'm having some conversations with some staff members, is do we consider having the banner just be Newtown Township as our banner, but then have table banners for each group? And it's a nice banner. We have it's almost like a tablecloth that goes around. It makes the table
like a
look
skirt,
Huh?
like a table skirt almost.
It's a table skirt and top. And then you put the banner over top of it. It gives you a really nice look, and it says, we have one that just Newtown Township, but I could see doing, one for each of the groups. And by doing that, then if there's 2 of you at the same event, I don't have to worry about how to get, I mean, like I think we did
Sure.
one time where we tried to hang the banners on the side. Nobody got to see really what it didn't benefit. But I thought, I was trying to think about how we could do it, or even if you were sharing a table, you could, these banners aren't the whole width of the table. So you could put one end be Trails and Greenways and one end be Parks and Rec, for example.
We like collaborating with our other committees
Yeah.
and groups, so yeah, I mean, I don't have any issue with that. I think that's great.
You could print out the table skirt, right? And
Yeah.
have like Newtown Township in the middle and have room for a set size square, which could be the QR code for whatever group is working there. And we could just like Velcro it on
Yeah.
for the day of the event. And so each township or each committee has their own QR code. You could leave room on either side end of it. So you could have 2 at the same table, but the skirt is there and you just bring your QR code and slap it on there, and hopefully the QR code underneath would have like Trails and Greenways or EAC. That way it's versatile for however many people you have there. And
What I'm finding is things like the card idea, people tend to do better with. a lot of people are, I mean, some people will walk right up and they'll just do the code.
Yep.
But most people kind of say, yeah, I'm gonna do that at home. And it's like, well, if you don't take it now, you're not taking it home, right? You know, so, one of the things we're finding, or at least I'm finding, is if I can find some way of handing them something, I think I'm increasing my chances of them actually doing something with it. Because sometimes at some of these events, people aren't wanting to, like, it doesn't keep for them, but if they had the QR code ongoing, they would use it more often.
It's tangible.
So
It's a tangible thing.
So so I think we need to think about that too, because I know we put the township QR code to get people to the website. And I'm watching people and they're like, yeah, but I don't want to do it right this minute. You know, I want to do it later. And so how am I going to do that? And so I say take a picture of it, but then it's like still harder to do later. So I'm thinking that
Yeah.
I like the idea of putting it on the card and say, here's your card, you can take it with you, you can do it anytime you want.
To be honest, I'm most excited about the potential of a future trifold map thing because as somebody that has been an avid hiker forever, I keep even the most simple paper things, put them in my car door or whatever. And if you put the QR code that takes it on the bottom of that trail map, then that's again, another physical tangible. So I've always liked that stuff. Like, you know, you go to all the state parks, and that little simple, it's very small.
It's a unigrid.
Is that what it's called?
Well, at
Unigrid,
least in
thank
the
you.
Park Service, it's called a unigrid.
But yeah, like all the Pennsylvania, like DCNR,
Yeah.
like the little ones, like, I have tons of them. I got like 8 of like French Creek State Park, but you know, I like to have them because then if I'm ever going there, it's just a real quick grab, throw in your pocket. Okay. Great. No, I think that if you want to do the table banner, I don't have any issues. I think that would be great.
I think table banner sounds great.
Yeah, more flexibility with our other township partners. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, it's also, you know, if you happen to be inside and you can't hang up a banner.
Yeah,
but
that's
you had a table banner, I saw it as being potentially more usable.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. Thank you. All right, so last item on this, 8.5, is there any other things that we're missing? All this stuff sounds like low-hanging fruit, pretty inexpensive. The business cards, the maps, sounds like Steve's already ahead of the game on trying to figure out a good banner for us and use with our partners. Is there anything else we're missing right now for the budget request for this year? I mean, the big one was kind of, it did the parking lot right now, so that's not really our budget, but you know, big expenditures. Right, thank you. It's the most obvious one. And that would be following getting the official,
Yeah, it'd be going then. I think the initial, like, some of the stuff may be coming from you, or is that just the mock-ups and then? How are we working that, George? I'm sorry.
With the trail map that we're
Yeah.
looking and working with Evan on?
Yeah, I mean, so we had the trail map signage, like that was gonna be directional signage, and then we had the informational signage on top of that. And those were the panels that were a little bit bigger. I think the trail map signage, we were like, yeah, your sign company, easy, awesome. The other ones, I didn't, you know, we were talking about like, in the meantime, we can go with this, and then later on, maybe going with the fancier ones.
Right, so there's a number of signage kind of things that we can absolutely do with our sign company that we use for you know, street signage and those kind of things. And that's going to be, you know, it's going to be very durable. It's going to be a little more utilitarian. It'll be, you know, metal with rounded edges, and we'll have posts or a frame or something like that with it, but it will not be, you know, like something that comes out of a catalog or something that you were looking at that could be finished. Now, you know, potentially some scout projects could replicate some of those kind of things and really dress up the plain metal signage that we would have with framing and things like that on it. But if we're talking about more, if I were to say like out of a catalog kind of look to it, then that would be a budget item you'd want to look at, putting in for next year.
Okay.
You know, we want to
Alright,
get,
so-
I mean, we want to get the ball rolling and we want to get signage up, but it won't be the polished look of like out of a catalog that would be at a Valley Forge or something.
All right, so to close this item, right, Evan? Business card one, you're gonna send an up-to-date thing, but then can you also just go on one of the websites and just get us like a, you know, how you print it up as an estimate and you just a PDF of like on your webpage, what it looks like of what the cost we think is. That would be one.
For the business cards?
That way I can put it in the request, I'll attach it officially, then, and then the other question would be then, that more polished version, can we at least get a cost estimate that I can include in the document?
It's been a little while since I called.
Okay.
The company that I had originally got the quote from, and with potential tariffs or whatever, I'll just make sure that they're still
Yeah,
looking at that same price, and then I'll talk to you too about getting quotes from the sign company that you work with, so we could have a range, and we could be like, here's the fancy ones, here's the basic. What can we get money for? And
Alright.
kind of go from there.
yeah, and then what I'll do is I'll include, if there's multiple options, I can include them in the budget request as like, just do it, just attach it. Letter to the township email, here's what we're asking for, here's the recurring costs, here's the upfront costs, if there are any. I mean, there shouldn't be any recurring costs for the majority of this stuff. It's just one-time thing. No big deal. And then because we don't yet have, I could probably find one for a simple trifold, even if we don't have the graphic yet. Because if Evan's gonna do that work, the art, then it's just a matter of printing. So I can probably get that one and just include it in the budget request.
Right, because the content of it can come later. You're just looking at the
Yep.
printing costs as a concept.
And it sounds like the banner then is something that's happening separately that I don't need to include in this, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we'll include the price for it, but I'd have to go back and look, but I want to say the banners are table banners, I don't know, $100 or something like that. It's not a lot of money.
Okay, thank you.
If you're looking at printers, I would kind of, I mean, we have a printer that we use pretty regularly. So just remind me and I'll give you their contact information.
Okay. Okay, moving on, 8.6. Terry's not here, but Terry did text us. I missed it. What'd she say?
So 10:18, there is the Harvest Festival over at Garrett Williamson. He walks at 12:30 and 1:30. She would love to have somebody, multiple people helping with those walks on. She plans a walk on 10/26, just before their trunk or treat over at the Newtown Square Presbyterian Church. So that will be starting from there around 3:30. And then she also mentioned that there will now be monthly walks.
What date is the Newtown Square Presbyterian Church?
10/26.
I think I am there. I'll be running like a tractor there.
Oh,
Joe, I can help with that one as well. I can help as well on that day.
Yeah, so the big news, and Terry did key me up to this last week when I talked to her, is that she was able to secure monthly walks open to the public, sponsored through the Trails and Greenways at Garrett Williamson, which is awesome because it's our favorite place to go every time. And it's, you know, the public is always super interested when we do have those opportunities. They usually are the best attended. They do cap them and limit them for obvious reasons. But that was like some of the best news I'd heard, that she was able to secure that. And, yeah, we have the bird walks twice a year typically, right?
Yeah.
Right, with, I forget his name, but from Mike, the real big guy.
Yeah.
Super nice guy. And then we have the Harvest Festival. So that's 3. Now you're talking about at least another 9, it looks like, which is. So that was some of the coolest news that we had heard. I think the 18th I can go. 26th, I'm out of town, which is actually kind of a bummer because that's connected to our neighborhood. Maybe back, I don't know, we'll see. I have a wedding down the shore, so we'll see if I get back. Sounds like we've got couple volunteers on that one,
I
and I
cannot
will,
help on the eighteenth.
Hmm?
I cannot help on the eighteenth.
I can do the 18th.
able to be there. I just need to decide what my priority is that day.
I'm gonna put it in my calendar now so I don't miss out.
And in the text chain, she texted us at the beginning. There's a link to sign up to volunteer. I think there's a spot for comments, so you may, hey, helping out with the trail walk or something like that, unless you want to volunteer for something more over there, but,
Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. That's done with new business, old business. I don't even know. First one, 9.1 is just the parking lot update. I don't know if anything's changing right now, if we're good. I don't really know if there needs to be an update anymore. Maybe I need to pull this off. 'Cause it's open, it's active, so.
Yeah, so I think the thing that, I'm assuming that at the last meeting, George shared with you that we got the bollards, up and.
Yep.
And all that, so that's all in good shape. We still have a few minor things that we have to do there to meet what PennDOT's requests were. But we're pretty much. Yeah, there's just some line painting.
But it's accessible now though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, all right.
We just
Kevin
haven't.
went over.
My guess is that it will be in the spring before we get in and really try to do the handicap paved parking area, only because I know what George's team is up against time-wise, and we're almost to leaf collection season, and as soon as that starts, I'm not asking them to do anything else, because that becomes the priority. And right now, they're trying to get all the trailers and that kind of stuff done, so I'm not anticipating that we'll get it done this fall, but if we could get it done this spring, that'll be our goal. And we are gonna try to do that for the spring. And then there'll be some other minor things that we would do. I know that we're trying to get a viewing bench and some things like that put in when we get the ADA accessible spaces in. So,
Okay.
and George and I have talked a little bit about some adjustments to the trail that need to be done. And so we'll keep moving forward to make that even better. And I think we're talking about even moving the sign that's right now at kind of the end of the Lissitor Trail. It would be moved over to where the parking area is and those kind of things. So there's several things that need to be done. I anticipate most of those will be springtime activities.
All right, so if everybody would keep me honest and maybe remind me to put it back in the spring, we'll just get an update from you at that time, but I appreciate the update, sir. Thank you. Okay, and then the next one is just the recurring one I keep on there, and I'll bring it up, is one of the things I'm most excited for that's tied in with all of these kind of ongoing things, and the just beginning number 3, the creating maps, is the comprehensive plans and the official town map. That was a big topic of discussion at the presentations, a lot of questions from certain people who didn't really understand what it was, and I was very positive to hear Simone Collins and how they addressed it, and some of the conversations back up from the Board of Supervisors has been really positive. So that's all I just wanted to comment on. I'm so excited about that for this year. It's been years of hard work to try to get to that point, and now it's getting up in front of the people that actually can make it reality with the Board of Supervisors and the Planning Commission on it. All right. Number 10, anybody have any additional business they want to address now?
I got one thing. So I don't know if this is a good idea or not. I just want to throw it out there. Some of the surrounding townships like Radnor and Wellestown have a group that's not directly associated with their township, but I'm sure it collaborates with, it's like a friend of,
Yep.
the trails or whatever. Radnor's a Friends of Radnor Trail. Wellestown has some, I forget what their group is called.
There is a Friends of Marple Newtown Trails.
There is?
Yeah.
Great,
Is that
Doug
Doug?
Humes is,
Doug Humes.
yeah.
Okay.
heading that up.
yeah,
Might
I
better
didn't even
be
know they
split at
existed.
some point,
they what?
split between Friends of Newtown Trails and Friends of.
They have already split?
They haven't, but they probably should at some.
Okay. Should we try to engage with them? And,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
yeah, it's,
There's a reason it exists, as to your point.
I was gonna suggest we should try to create it, but if it exists already, fantastic.
Yeah, Doug Humes, who John introduced me to, a number of years ago. So we have his, I think I might have his contact. It is not more than just email, because I hate email. No, I don't. John probably has.
What, his phone number?
So why don't we, why don't we reach out to them and say, hey, we should have been doing this maybe a while ago more. Again, I'd met him before, but not had regular conversations. Maybe we just put in as a regular check-in once a month to see, one, about leveraging the network that he might have on top of what Terry's been doing. Terry does know him, but maybe there's a way of leveraging that to get more people in public engagement and different things, events. At a bare minimum, maybe getting more people to our meetings is a good positive way of going about it, but yeah, I think it's a good idea.
George, do groups like that do things that take work off of your plate, like doing like volunteer cleanups or anything like that?
My understanding is that's what they do in other communities. Like I know that the Haverford group does a lot over there. I think in Marple, they do a lot over there. Thus far, I don't really know if they've done a lot in Newtown. There are other groups that do things. I mean, we just had Ellis Preserve, the Harrison, essentially maintenance crew over there wanted to do some community service. And so they weeded all the trees along Goshen Trail and along the Bishop Hollow Trail over here. So there's groups that do things and they usually tie in with us because a lot of the time there's not a lot of notice. They may say, hey, we've got a group and we'd like to do something and next week. There's not an opportunity to bring it to say this committee or something and say, let's plan something big. It's usually a little quicker.
Sure.
But again, like the Marple Newtown, the Friends of Marple Newtown Trails, we haven't worked directly with Doug on any specific projects. It's more been hearing about what they do, like for example, in Haverford or something.
Well, so again, maybe we can make a more collaborative effort then. Maybe that can be something that we have in the future with, like you said, like volunteer events, different stuff. Could figure that out. That goes into another topic on which I missed, even though I wrote it as a bullet from the trail walks and stuff like that, was it doesn't really apply to this update from the Garrett Williamson because Garrett Williamson sets it, we're piggybacking. Same thing with the trunk or treat at the Newtown Square Presbyterian Church. They're kind of doing an event and Terry's just able to get us kind of the ability to do something. So in the future, when we're trying to plan other trail walks and stuff like that, especially when we're partnering with other townships, Board of Supervisors asked that we go and see if one of them is available. So I don't know, where is their schedule? They said their schedule is publicly available. Leonard told me that the Board of Supervisors schedules are publicly available somehow or available he made it sound like it was easy for us to be able to see. The goal is that when we plan trail walks in the future, at least look at their schedule and see, are some of the Board of Supervisors available to potentially join? No? Okay.
I don't
Let me
think that's
say
what it
that
said.
I'm
I haven't
having,
either, that's why I'm asking the question.
I'm having if there's something like that available, I'm not sure I'm aware of it.
Okay,
In
Yeah.
regards of knowing.
you
their
confirm what I thought, that's all.
their availability, like on the weekend. I think what he's requesting is that the trail walks that are scheduled, that they at least be made aware of them so they can be, if they can be available, they would be available. I think that's what he's requesting, but I would have to talk to Leonard before I know that. I don't have a schedule. I don't have all their schedules of when they're free and when they're not.
I
if
didn't
that's what
think
you're
so,
asking,
but it was confusing.
and to be honest, I don't want that, so.
I know. We had like cut off communication because we're both busy and we were talking and then he got a call and all that. So what I'll do is I'll follow up with them and at least see what's the best way of doing that, because one of the things like these walks, we're not scheduling them, we are piggybacking off of somebody else. I think the bigger instance was when we're planning something with one of our other township partners. Let's reach out to them, see if we can do that ahead of time. I think could be a nice step, so we'll figure it out.
Okay,
I'll reach out to them and see what is the protocol or procedure that we go through of, is this sunshine issue, sir? I don't think it is, but I'm gonna ask anyways. Can we just simply, every time we think we want to do an event on such and such date, or can we email all 5 supervisors at once and say, hey, we're doing this event, are any of you available to join? Or I don't think that's an issue, right?
that's not an issue.
Okay, thank you. All right, well then, that's probably the way we'll do it then. Because they all have official township emails that are available on the website.
No, but most of them do.
Okay. All right. I'll stick with most of them then. Thank you. All right, everybody, any additional business? Board comment? No. No public comment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Seconded. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. No opposed, motion